underwriter, and we switched our name to Blueprint Income Expert Plus. And what we do now, and this is a big upgrade since we talked a few months ago, is now we have a do it for you service. And that's what we're going to focus on today. I know that, look, as an underwriter, I've seen, I'm not exaggerating, tens of thousands of tax returns. I mean, I can't even tell you how many loans I've underwritten. Over $1 billion, I get my signature, and I know that for my insurance purposes, I had to claim that out. So I've seen tax returns since like 1998, very complex ones. So they're very easy for me, but I understand that if you don't look at them, they can be difficult. So what we wanted to do was you want to get a system that provides clear and consistent income calculations, right? You want to make sure it's complying with all agency guidelines. And you want to make sure that you have a single source of truth for all income types. One of the tough things as an underwriter is if you've got 3 or 4 or 5 sources of income, a job, dividends, self-employment, 3 or 4 pieces of real estate, you don't want 9 spreadsheets, right? That are all different, that you can't source them. So we are a single source of truth. Now, what happened since the last time we were here on the webinar is we've actually increased, we have an OCR, people call it, but we call it we offer both a do-it-yourself and a done-for-you calculations. Now, with our service and system, you can choose on which one you want, which controls your pricing. Now, I'm not going to focus much on pricing today, but I want to tell you it's very affordable. And we focus on the broker and the small bank market. Our competitors won't even work with you unless I think it's like $2,500 a month or something like that. They require a big commitment, which is fine. They focus on the larger lenders. We focus on all lenders. We have lenders. We do about 60 to 80,000 loans per month. So we're, again, good sized lender or vendor, 9 years in business. But you can expect that, if you're using our, you do it yourself, it's $4 to calculate a loan calculation. Again, any type of income. And if you use the Income Expert Plus, which we're going to talk about today, it's going to run roughly about $40. Now, the reason is we have a $30 base charge, and then we charge per page upload. We found the typical upload is about 100 pages. That means you upload 100 pages for review. Now, that's just a couple quick details. Again, real low barrier, $99 setup fee, again, $30 for a loan. We do have a minimum charge of $40 per month. So in other words, if you don't send us anything, you're going to pay $40, right? That's how you keep us on call, basically. But if you do 1 or 2 of these loans, you won't pay the $40 minimum. We have no contracts. You don't have to give us big money up front. If you don't like us in 30, 60, 90 days, just call us up and we will keep you on the free edition, no problem. So pricing, no sticker shock. You don't have to worry about reaching out to us because we're not going to sticker shock you. What do we do for income types? Well, we'll do any employed incomes. Now, it's based on what you give us. If you give us a VOE, VOI, or year-end pay stubs, we can do all the variable pays, such as overtime, commission, tips, bonus, nursing, all that good stuff. Now, if you give us just a pay stub and a W-2, we'll give you base pay, right? Because as an underwriter, I can tell you, I can't give you overtime unless you can show me what your 2-year history is. For self-employed income, we do the C's, F's, real estate owned. We do the K1 1065, the K1 1120S, the 1120 Corp, profit and loss. We do all of the income types, right? If you're having a little trouble with these things, no problem. Now, I got our passive income and I got our little asterisk up here. Yeah, we'll look at Social Security, disability, alimony, and child support. But keep in mind that we have a balance of, we do underwriting functions, but we're not your underwriter. And what I mean by that is when I train underwriters, which I do quite a bit, I always tell them 2 + 2 may equal 4, but 4 may not be the right answer for a lot of reasons. For example, child support. Your divorce decree says you get $500 a month. Great, the math is 500. But can you use that 500? That's the question, right? Is it going to last long enough? So we do a lot for you, but remember, we're not underwriting. So we are limited. We can't look through 8 months of bank statements to figure out Social Security. But let me show you how easy this is in just a couple minutes, right? Here's all you got to do. You sign up with Blueprint. You're going to get your login and password. You log in. This is our homepage. On here, you can look for existing loans, or you can create a new loan. So I want Blueprint to assist with the Income Expert to help me with income. So I click the Create a Loan button. I click that. All we need you to do is pick which, put your loan number in, which agency you're working with, USDA, VA, FHA, Freddie, Fannie. Put your borrower's name in and last 4 of the Social Security number, and go ahead and save it. Now, then you can click this little handy dandy upload button. And then you click the upload button, that creates you to this order page. You're going to click create new order right here. And it's going to ask you a couple quick questions to confirm your order. Hey, you got one borrower with social security number. That's all you want, right? Oh no, I want to put a second borrower in. Go back to the previous page and correct it. The next question is, hey, is anybody self-employed or have rental income? Yes. Then our next question will be, well, which years do you want reviewed? Well, right now it's easy. All you can do is 2019 or 2020. But what about February when you can do 21 or 20, right? It'd be 21, 20 or 2019. So you let us know what years you want reviewed. And then do you want a 1 or 2 year review, which would apply to Fannie or Freddie only because, government loans require 2 years. Then you can just click, hey, I reviewed the order and I agree to the terms and conditions. And the terms and conditions are just, don't hack the software, don't steal it, don't, copy into it. And, we are a service, we're not your underwriter kind of thing. Then you're going to upload the files. Now, we can upload it to 10 different PDFs at once. So if you grab a couple of tax returns, we don't care how many pages are in them, but we can't have more than 10 uploads. You click it and Blueprint will put this little graphic on the screen, say, hey, it's uploading. And it's going to start the first of 3 steps. Once it's done, it's going to let you know, hey, I uploaded 4 different PDFs and I counted how many pages were in there and we're getting to work. All right. Now, what we don't want you guys doing is sitting around like it's a rock concert waiting for tickets. And, you're sitting there going, hey, when is this going to be done? So you get this cool email, let you know we got it, right? And it tells you our turn times and our email address. And what we're doing is we're running it through a form recognizer, handing it off to a form extractor, and then handing it off to a live trained QC team. Now, this QC team is located here in Michigan, where I'm at, and in California. We're available Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And you can expect your income calculations back in 4 hours or less. We're averaging about 2 hours right now, but when it gets busy, sometimes it's 4. Catch us at night and the weekends. We'll get it for you the next day. Now, what happens next? Once we're done, you get this nice email saying, hey, we're all set. You click on this link, and what you want to do is a couple different things. This link brings you right back to the report, right, which will go over all the income. Now, what do you got to do? Read our QC notes. Part of our services will look at the tax returns and tell you, hey, something's missing. There's a business missing. You want to submit any missing documents back to us if you choose to. Don't have to if you don't want to. You want to check make sure you put your PITI in for any real estate we found because we don't add that in for you. And then you want to look through income types and add and delete anything you do or don't want to use. Now, again, if you do an income we don't do automatically, you can still add it in on your own. And this is what you get back. You get this report analysis. The very first thing you see in the report is we give you advisories if there's any kind of weird thing going on with the income. Like, for example, one of the biggest questions we get sometimes is, hey, I submitted this borrower's self-employment and it was like 900 grand or 90 grand in 19 and 20 grand in 20, and you said the income was 0. Remember, with underwriting, you're not trying to figure an average out. You're trying to figure if income is qualified. And if income is dipping down 40%, it's not qualified. So what we do in the first part of the narrative is we give you advisories about some kind of real red flags, like, hey, your K1 went down quite a bit. What do we need to do? Hey, your liquidity test failed. This is the steps you need to take with your underwriter. So we coach you on how to correct it. Remember, we're not underwriting. We're not your final analysis. And then you get this great income that says all their incomes are combined. We break it down by type. And then we also break down every single one of the calculations. How do we get it? What's our math? How do we figure out every bit of number? This is what you're going to submit to any investor. Now, like I said, we do 60, 70, 80,000 loans a month. Heck, Fannie Mae is one of our clients. They use our software to audit all the files that come into their department. We have large lenders. We have small lenders. So we're very reliable. We have a $2 million E&O policy against our calculations. We guarantee our calculations are correct. All right. So that's my quick presentation. Just want to show you guys it's available. Couple things I want to tell you about, though. The best thing to do is I want to take a couple extra minutes with you if you want to use the system. I want to go over it, make sure you understand it, get you set up. Heck, we even let you run a free one through just to see how it works. What I want you to do then is reach out to me at mwhitbeck@getblueprint.io or the team and ask for a demo. One more thing, I call this a save your date. There's a big shortage of processors and underwriting in the industry right now. I've been training underwriters since 2000. We're putting together a flight school. Now, I fly as a hobby, right? I love flying, so I like putting flying stuff. Where if you got people that are, trained, but they're having trouble processing or underwriting, or they're new, or you got somebody you want to train up, we're doing a full flight school. This is where we take everything from app to closing and walk them through to understand credit, applications, So it's 3 days. It's going to be in Orlando, Florida on the 20th, 21st, and 22nd. The cost is just under $1,000. We have it priced at about $999, and it's going to be a great 3-day event there. So reach out to me for either one of those things. Save the date. We're going to put some more announcements out on the flight school in January. But I know my time's up, and I want to leave a couple minutes for any Q&As in case something comes up.
Wow, that's fantastic. I got a couple of questions here. If anyone has any others that they want to submit, do it now. But I love that flight school. I love the concept of it, and like the reality is actually a lot of our audience are independent, mortgage companies, and it's difficult to have the resources to be able to train processors the right way.
Yeah. And the reason, just real quick, the reason I call it flight school, and here's the joke I always give. Look, I'm 52 years old. I wanted to be a pilot since I was 10 years old. I started flying 4 years ago. If we can train people like me, old dogs like me, to put airplanes up in the air and not kill ourselves every 4 minutes, I'm pretty sure we can learn processing and underwriting. So, and there's a really uniform method to teach flying, the basics and the more advanced and the more and experience. All those lessons are the same thing that I've been training underwriters with for 20 years. So that's why I call it flight school. Yeah, you got pre-flight and all that stuff. But it's a great program. I put a few hundred people through it already, and it's very successful.
Fantastic. So listen, first question. I mean, so you have a free version. Is there any limitations that with the free version other than the volume?
No, the free version is, but you can't use the plus, right? You can't give us the upload. But the free version, it does self-employed, it does profit and loss, it does everything. The limitation is you get one user ID and you can only do a maximum of 4 loans per month. And it's not a demo, and there's no gotcha. There's no, we're not going to like hold the self-employed back. It's the best way to get on it and try it out. And one day you're like, man, maybe I need to upgrade this as I grow. Then we can easily upgrade you to premium. But absolutely take advantage of the free. There's no reason not to.
Oh, that's money. That's great. So, and is there any kind of API that's open so we could integrate with CRMs? I know you mentioned that you can integrate with LOSs, but what about CRMs? And is there an API so we could have fun with other systems?
We do have an open API, but you have to be on the teams or above for that because of the programming costs. But yeah, we actually run an API. So if you have a decent amount of volume, 20, 30, 50 loans a month, you might be able to go up the teams. But yeah, we have open API. We actually integrate with Encompass. We're working on 3 other LOSs. We have 4 open right now. And we have 3 custom APIs. So we're kind of in that stage the way DO back in the day, if you're old school like me, you used to go to DO on the web and then you would hand it off to your underwriter and they would change the DU. Well, that's like DU now, you don't see it anymore, right? It's kind of in the background. That's kind of, we're on year 9 of our, life of a company. And that's what we're really working on now is we're actually baking ourselves into multiple tools. So we'll be there, but we'll be kind of disappearing in the background, but we're running the calculations. So yeah, we got all that technology up and running. We got a tech team that will hook it up. But we'll definitely be interested, just set up an appointment with me. And then we'll go ahead and go over and see how we can help.
Fantastic. And do you see actually that, so I know you're saying you're typically right now doing 2-hour, turnaround, which is phenomenal, but promising 4 hours. Do you see that saying the same, or do you think actually over time that'll compress down?
Well, we're going to get compressed down right now. Everything is 100% audited by our QC team, and we are building out software integrity. So we're actually, you wouldn't be imagining like, oh, there's over 100,000 lines of code getting this thing running. It's not just some off the shelf. We actually custom built everything for underwriting. So our goal is to get it down to like 30 minutes or less. And, what we're doing is we're actually, think of the software as like a first grader right now, right? They've got intelligence. It just needs experience. We have over 500,000 pages of experience in it at the moment. So it is learning rapidly. It's kind of like Skynet, right? It gets smarter as it goes. Hopefully it doesn't attack us anytime soon. But, the smarter it gets, the quicker the turn times get. And, we keep our staff up to a level where, we save 4 hours because we have a few peak times during the day. We get a little buried. But, typically in the morning, we can turn things around in like under an hour. But I want to just set proper expectation, 4 hours, basically, you can count on us.
Fantastic. What was the genesis of this? What led to the creation of this tool?
Well, at first it was just because there were spreadsheets everywhere. So we created software that doesn't get corrupted and it's off base. And this is what we get paid to do. People go, is it compliant? Like when you're selling 70,000 of these units a month, yeah, it has to be compliant, right? This is what we do. Like we're income experts. That's why we named the software income expert. And what we found was, because we're one of the only companies that works with, I call them smaller shops. Like, to our competitors, small is like, you don't do 100 loans a month, you're not worth talking to. Like, look, I've been in the business a long time. There's plenty of very successful shops with 2 or 3 people that do 40, 50 loans a month. That's good money, guys, right? You do 40 loans a month, you're cranking out a nice little business there. And I've worked at TPO, small, big shops. As an underwriter, I've worked at all kinds of places. So we just wanted to, and because you don't have an underwriter at that shop, right? It's too expensive. So what we're trying to do is lend you underwriting knowledge and experience. And that's exactly what this tool does. That's why we offer the training. That's why we're doing the software. So we're like a system. We're a helper system. I want to call us a vendor, but we're a partner. You want to train a processors? We can help you. We're also going to give you a tool that your processors won't mess up the income. Underwriters can't deny the income. Like, I'm an underwriting guy, right? I mean, I'm happy to debate with any underwriter any day. And again, we don't do this type of volume without pushback. So we have 20, 30 underwriting managers that we're always bouncing things off of. So this information, you get a wide scope of knowledge along with the software. We keep it up to date and sharp, and we make sure it's completely compliant. So, what's my passion? I learned the hard way in underwriting, but I call it shin kicking. For 3 years, I didn't think I had a job every Friday, right? I just learned the hard way the first 3 years as an underwriter. I refuse to let anybody go through that. That's why I've been training underwriters for 20 plus years. It's the wrong way to teach people. It'd be like sticking me in an airplane, handing me controls and go, good luck on your first landing, right? We don't do that. We teach people, we mentor them, we sit next to them, and we train them. And that's the same thing I'm bringing to the industry.
That's fantastic. Yeah, this definitely falls under the category of a tool that originators love. Listen, Michael, great to hang with you again. Appreciate you coming on and sharing the blueprint system with our audience here. And I'm going to bounce you off, and I'm going to grab Dave over at Capacity.
Looking forward to seeing the rest of the demos. Thanks.
Fantastic. Thank you. All right, let's go over here. All right, guys, it's pretty exciting. Let's go grab Dave, and here we go. All right, I'm going to promote to a panelist. All right. David will be joining us from over at Capacity. And we're going to, Michael, thank you so much, but we are going to bounce you off here. Mm-hmm. All right, and fantastic. All right.
Andrew, just need to allow video on your end.
Yep, here we go. We're going to make you a co-host. By the way, Dave has such amazing energy. And let's say, of course, whoa, where's the whiteboard?
I'm in the opposite. The whiteboard's on the other side. So.
Oh, okay. Fantastic. Very cool. Love seeing actually the amazing things that Capacity does. You guys actually have the ability to really just be a game changer for organizations. I've talked to some of the clients that have used the Capacity tools both internally and externally, and it's amazing. So without further ado, take it away.
Well, good morning. Thank you all for taking the time out to hear a little bit of what we're up to. We're going to make this fun and engaging, and let's go ahead and dive in. So we started Capacity to help teams do their best work, and we've seen just a phenomenal set of clients implement this within the mortgage space. That's anything from on the consumer-facing side to the loan officer to the underwriting desk to even onboarding in HR and IT. So we're going to try to cover all those use cases today. Keep this lively and moving quickly here. All right, let me share my screen, and then we will jump right in. All right, and let me hide my meeting controls. There we go. So I thought we would kick off today with our friends over at Assurance Financial. So Assurance launched the Ask Abby bot powered by Capacity. You can see here one little line of JavaScript, super easy to add to their site. And the basic idea is that they want to give their borrowers instant access to whatever questions they have, get an instant answer to whatever you're looking for. So you could ask a question like, I want to know, what is the conforming loan limit? And you'll notice as I start typing, we do autocomplete. So we can actually direct you toward the questions that Capacity knows how to answer, comes back instantly with a response. Every response has a thumbs up, thumbs down. Every time you hit thumb up, the machine learning kicks in and the bot starts to learn to match that a little more often. Every time you hit thumb down, we can bring someone in via live chat or via follow-up ticket. Another example, our friends over at USA Mortgage using Capacity. In their case, they've got their Flat Dougie bot named after their one of their co-founders. So you could ask a question like, why use a servicing agent? And again, does the autocomplete, comes back instantly with a response, simple, straightforward, frictionless. We're doing similar things over at West Community Credit Union, same idea. You'll notice you can change the branding and the look and feel between each of these, whether you want Ask Abby Green, USA Mortgage Blue, or West Community Dark Blue. Now, okay, David, this is great. You're helping our borrowers. We're answering all these questions for them. What about the mortgage advisor? What about the folks internal within the org? So this is an example of Capacity running on your intranet. You just deploy the bot, one little line of JavaScript. Your IT team can get this deployed in 5 minutes or less. And the basic idea is you can start to ask questions around your guides. So if I wanted to know something like, are business debts counted in DTI? I can click on that response, come back and give me the exact link to each of the areas in both Fannie, Freddie, FHA, USDA. Super easy, super simple. But David, this is great, but man, I got all these overlays and we are just overlay on top of overlay on top of overlay. Can you help me out there? Yes, we can. So if you go back to Capacity and you say something like, oh, I want to know the FHA min credit score. And you'll notice when I click on that question, it is going to take me down a guided conversation. Are you looking for an owner occupied? Are you looking for a HUD approved secondary residence? I'll say owner occupied. How many units? I'll say 1 unit. It comes back instantly with the answer. But if you're like, you know what? I need to trust but verify, you can always click here and it will take you directly to the page of the overlay that gives you all the information you're looking for, all in the tables, etc. But wait, David, our intranet is terrible. What if we could only replace it with an AI-powered solution? Well, again, I'm glad you asked. So not only can you put Capacity on your intranet page, like we showed here, we can also be your intranet. So if you're looking for an internal replacement for SharePoint or a portal, or you don't even have an intranet, pretty straightforward. You can publish content, you can do articles. We actually use the same technology on our support.capacity.com website. So if you want to check us out around there, you can browse around, see what's a part of the platform. And again, it's all natively integrated with our Capacity bot. Also, any page on the internet can be downloaded as a PDF later. So super easy, super simple. We've designed this whole thing to be as frictionless as possible. All right, we're going to keep on moving here. Let's go into the Capacity console. And we're not going to be able to cover everything on the console today just for time, but I'll try to give you a few of the highlights. So this is our Capacity developer platform. Think of the developer platform as the gateway to connecting to other Capacity apps or other apps within your tech stack. So think of things like Confluence and Jira. Think of things like LA Maze Compass. I believe we're going to see some demos here from Sales Boomerang coming up soon. We've got a Sales Boomerang integration as well. So you can connect with Capacity over 85 different apps out of the box, and then you can go roll your own. So if I go look at an example here, I want to connect Capacity to my Salesforce instance. We've got, I think, 75, 80 different Salesforce connectors built out of the box. You hook up your API endpoint to our API, and then you can start asking questions into that app. We're going to show a demo of this in just a few minutes. Now, okay, David, great. We've got Capacity handling all this information on my knowledge base, on my apps. But what about my docs? And what about docs that we don't see? They change up a little bit. Like we've got different versions. We've got same type of doc, but we're going to see it in a couple different ways. So this is an example one of our clients uses for our document mining, specifically around the escrow review process. So here is Bob's escrow. Let me zoom in here a little bit. You can see here, he owes about $500 on his escrow. He's got his basic information, his loan number, his address, etc. So we have used our Capacity workflows platform to go in, take this document, by the way, this is an image. We will convert that image into readable text and then take that text and turn that into a database. So if I go click on this little nub icon here, I scroll up to the top, you can see we were able to pull out Bob's name, address, letter date, loan number, property address, etc. Super easy, super simple. And in fact, we're even building out the ability to go in and allow you to redact content here as well, in case there's parts of this that you want to be able to send out with a redacted version. All right, we mentioned workflows. Let me kind of unpack that a little bit. So guided conversation is good when you've got a single user going through kind of a choose your own adventure path, like we showed earlier with the FHA min credit score demo. A workflow, think of it as running more behind the scenes, automating things that are happening that your support team might be doing. So in this case, we've got an onboarding workflow demo. We're going to go create a ticket, do some linkages, create some sub-tickets, and then transition the paperwork behind the scenes. Now, in terms of what you can add to the workflow, you can do broadcasts, cloud drives, guided conversations, placeholders, sub-workflows, tickets, variable assignments, and then any of those apps that we talked about earlier can be added to the workflow as well. Now, to show what this would look like on the other end, this is from our friends over at Panorama. This is kind of a little demo that we're working on with them. In this case, they've got an entire employee onboarding Kanban board. They can see all of their team. I don't think they're hiring Lex Luthor here, so I think it is a demo example. But you can see their entire onboarding process, and as somebody moves through the process, they don't have to get bogged down with all of the sub tickets for each of these people. They can go click over to our capacity board, go click on either the IT or HR, and they can see what all of those sub tickets look like. All right. A new part of the platform we just launched this year is called automations. Basic idea behind automations is that if a guided conversation is a decision tree that happens in the middle of a conversation, and a workflow is more of a process that happens in the background that you either schedule or kick off, think of an automation as an event-driven triggering system that can kick off any action in the system when a particular event occurs. So in this case, we've got a help desk trigger here. When the time interval is passed, if the ticket due date is more than an hour, and we've never executed this, and we've got a status is either done or dismissed, and then I did this just for the demo purposes, if the title contains laptop, then we can go down and look at this action here. We're going to send an email saying that we've got an overdue ticket here. Now, in terms of the types of actions we can add, we can send emails or we can start workflows. We've got a whole bunch of different triggers we can do: ticket created, updated, correspondence created, interaction created, and then all the conditions you'd want. Checking on due date, description, past due, is read, priority, status, owner, you name it. So this is awesome if you want to be able to start automating events that occur when specific actions happen. All right, so far we've shown capacity running externally on the web. We've shown it on your intranet, kind of poked around in the console. We've shown workflows and guided conversations, and even how the developer platform works. Now let's show capacity working on more of a kind of a messaging platform like Slack or Microsoft Teams. So I'm going to pull up my instance of Slack here. You can see a couple things. Capacity sent me the weather this morning. It said, other than my usual meetings, here are a link to a couple of non-recurring events for the day. It told me to have a good day today, and then I got started. And so I can go into capacity and I could say something like, let's say, what loans are closing this month? It is going to go connect to my LOS, Ellie Mays and Compass, you name it, go in, grab the information, come back to me instantly with a response. Or I could go to capacity and I could say something like, show the Johnson loan, and it will again log in as me into the LOS, come back instantly with all the information: rate lock, status, down payment, LTV, all the things that you kind of expect. I could go to capacity and I could ask a question like, who is the primary contact for West Community? And it will go in and connect to my Salesforce instance, ask me, David, are you looking for an opportunity or an account? I'll say opportunity. It will now ask me between all the different West Community credit union opportunities, which one are you wanting? I'll just pick the first one. It's now going to log in as me into Salesforce, come back and give me Jason's contact info. Again, super easy, super simple, super straightforward. We're just trying to make it as frictionless as possible to access all of your apps. Now, in fact, I could go connect Jason with Jeremy on my team. He's actually helping us out with a project we're working on. So I could go to Capacity and say something like, I want to forward that to Jeremy. And now the bot is smart enough to know that that refers to the previous message. Jeremy maps to Jeremy Burrows. It's going to come back and actually write Jeremy a little email with all the information we just pulled from that previous message. Last kind of 2 internal examples I want to show. We can use Capacity to do some advanced internal scheduling. So I can say something like, I want to schedule 15 minutes to meet with Jeremy and Chris. And now it's going to go look at my calendar. It'll look at Jeremy's calendar. It'll look at Chris's calendar. Smart enough to know we've got multiple Chris's in the org. So I'm going to go select Chris Dewar here. It's now going to log in as all of us into our calendars, try to find the first 5 times when all of us are available. I'll say, let's meet next week at 4:45. Now it'll go in and add that directly to either my Google Calendar or my Outlook calendar. Last thing I want to show today is, okay, David, this is great. Got Capacity connecting your apps and your documents and your knowledge base. You've got all these workflows and automations. What happens if the bot doesn't know the answer? How do we work through that? So if I ask Capacity, are we licensed in Missouri? It is going to go look at our apps and our docs and our knowledge base and try to answer that question for me. If it doesn't know the answer, it'll say, hey, David, I didn't find an answer to your question. Here's some next steps I can help you with. File a ticket, search your docs, search the web, or never mind. I'm going to hit file a ticket. It'll now ask me what area does this apply to just for the purpose of the demo. We actually have the ability to start categorizing this and sending it to the right project on its own. I can either speak with an agent live via live chat, or I can just file a ticket. I'm just going to file a ticket for the purpose of the demo. Now, if I take my user hat off and I go put my help desk hat on, my agent, my support desk on, David, the agent, I'm going to get either an instant message or an email back saying a new ticket's been filed. It's been assigned to you. Can you help this guy out? So now I'll go in. It will take me into the help desk. We can now see all the information we need on the ticket. We've got the transcript here. We've got the ticket listing on the left. We've got the priority, due date, assignment, project, all the things you'd expect from a help desk. You can add attachments. You can do both public and private comments. You could even set up to CC different individuals on top of a response. Where I think this starts to get interesting, though, is if I go flip this over to in progress, instead of, I'll just zoom out a little bit here. Instead of just being able to comment on this ticket back and forth, we've now opened up these little mini tasks. So I can go create new knowledge, map to existing knowledge, or go start a workflow. So I'm going to go create new knowledge, and I'll say, we are licensed in Missouri. I'll scroll down, save this out to my experiments dialog where I keep my demos. I'll hit reply to asker so we can automatically do that. I'll hit save to the knowledge base. And now we'll flip this over. We can set this to review. Or we could even set it to right over to done. And now what'll happen is if I take my user hat, or I'm sorry, if I take my help desk hat off and I go put my user hat on, David, the user, will get a proactive message back saying, hey, earlier you asked me this question, are we licensed in Missouri? I've got an updated answer for you. And in fact, now if anyone else asks that question, are we licensed in Missouri? Instead of that going to an email, instead of that going to a support desk, Capacity comes back and answers it instantly. And in fact, because the AI is good enough, we can ask even a variant of the question, something like, do we have a license in Missouri? Even though that question does not exist in the knowledge base, it will still come back and give you an instant response. So just to recap, we are here to help support your team, help your team do its best work. We're here for both your borrowers and your internal team. We can connect to your apps, your docs, your knowledge base, your workflows. And even when Capacity doesn't know the answer, we will intelligently escalate that up to the right team member and make it so that you never have to answer that question again. The best compliment we've gotten in the last couple months is when our clients have said, David, we have retired multiple email inboxes that we no longer need to support because Capacity is now doing our support for us. With that, I'll open up to some questions.
Fantastic. If anyone has questions, use the question box. But one question actually that popped up. Can this be used for data collection?
Absolutely. You can use it for filling out a form. You can use it for doing lead gen. You can use it for internal data collection. Absolutely.
So for borrowers submitting docs, this can be used, and can it bring those documents over, to my LOS or CRM?
Absolutely. We can pull information directly out of docs. We've got kind of 5 functions of documents. There's document extraction, classification, separation, splitting, redaction, and annotation. We also have, because we can not only pull information from your LOS, we can also push to it. And so we've got clients doing full workflows where they're uploading documents, extracting information, and pushing it back to their systems record.
Fantastic. All right, this next question I love because I know the answer to it. So how quickly can capacity be deployed?
You sign with Capacity today. Our goal is to get it live, answering questions either for your team or for your borrowers within 30 days or less. So it's a pretty quick turnaround. A lot of that has to do with the fact that we've already built out a significant number of app integrations. We can mine your documents, you just upload them into our Capacity Cloud Drive. And then with respect to your knowledge base, when we kick off with a new client, we send out a survey. We say, what are the top questions you tend to ask, or you asked when you got to your role? And then what are the top questions you tend to answer? We use that to seed that initial knowledge base. So you're not starting out from a blank slate. You're actually starting out with a curated kind of wisdom of the crowds approach to the top questions people have.
Okay, fantastic. We have 2 more questions and we're going to move on. But so next one, how do you access Capacity? Do you have to have Slack or Microsoft Teams?
No, so you can put Capacity on your intranet. So if you have a SharePoint page or some kind of intranet, it's literally one little line of JavaScript you can add. If you don't, we can be your intranet. So you can have a login. We're even doing SSO integrations in Q1. So you can go, not even have to put in a username and password to get there. And then you can also put Capacity on your public facing website as well.
Fantastic. How do you make sure confidential information doesn't get into the wrong hands?
Great question. So Capacity uses something called Cascading Permissions, where we will inherit the permissions from the original system. So I'll give a good tee up to my next presenters. So let's say Alex over at Sales Boomerang has a document called Alex's Take Over the World Plan, which he probably actually does, by the way. I don't think this is a joke. If he didn't share it with me and I worked for Sales Boomerang and I asked Capacity, hey, what's Alex's Take Over the World Plan? It literally will not even come back with a response. It literally doesn't even know that the document exists. But conversely, as soon as he shares it with me in Microsoft OneDrive or Google Drive or Box, it instantly becomes accessible to my Capacity instance. Last thing I'll leave you all with, because I know we got to hop, we're running out of time. If you would like to learn more, go to capacity.com, click the request a demo button. We would love to work with you. We're working with a ton of mortgage companies, and I'm pretty darn sure we can help you all automate things both internally and externally.
Fantastic. And there's actually a link somewhere down here, whether you're watching this on Zoom or on YouTube, to be able to book that. Dave, always great to spend time with you. Always great to dig into the amazing Capacity system. And without further ado, we're going to bring, Gerald from File Invite's going to be coming on. All right, then wrapping it up will be, like Dave said, our friends over at Sales Boomerang. So, all right, we are going to bring Gerald up here, and Dave, I'm going to kick you out.
Thank you.
All right. All right, Gerald, are you here?
I am.
Fantastic, Gerald. Great to have you join us. Excited to do a deep dive into File Invite. You guys have some great technology to kind of help make document collection just a tad bit, or I shouldn't say a tad bit, a lot easier, a lot more intelligent. And we're excited to dig into it. If anyone has any questions, please use the question and answer box to answer ask your questions, and we will get to it. And I'm gonna let me make you a co-presenter. So
Yeah, and I was trying to get my video going, but it says that you've disabled it. So
Okay, hold on for a sec. We're going to do this. We'll make you a co-host, and now you're a co-host. Now you should be able to share your camera.
Oh, there we are.
Yeah.
Awesome. Hello, everyone. Yeah, so with that, I'll go ahead and present my screen. What I'd like to do is just kind of go through a very brief presentation. And then if there's time, I'd love to just give, just a high level view of the software itself. So to kind of start here, we are a document requesting, customer facing portal and document request platform. And our goal is really to streamline and automate as much of that painstaking process as possible. So, when we look to what the future of deal flow is, there's no question that every person who's in the lending spaces are looking ultimately to automate as much of these processes as possible so that they can focus on what they do best, which is providing advice and getting deals done, right? So to kind of look at this, one of my favorite statements, if you want to always be closing, you want to close more loans. The biggest question you have to ask yourself is, well, what do you need to close loans? And we put this very sophisticated chart here that you see. Ultimately, if you have the documents, you can close. If you don't, then no loan, right? So what we've distilled from this complexity is that you need documents, right? But how do you get those documents? Well, there's the old way, which is, to send an email. Maybe there are even, kind of older methods where you're still sending out, faxes. Let's hope that's not the case, but it can be for some. And that's usually followed by something that looks like this. And what is that? What constitutes this mess? Well, maybe your emails bounce. I'm sure many people can relate to that problem. A lot of times files are just simply too big, right? When you're requesting a large amount of documentation, it's very hard for clients to optimize the size of the files, and oftentimes we'll have to send it in multiple email chains. One of my personal favorites is when clients just do nothing. They see a laundry list of items and they think to themselves, well, I guess I'll get to that later because, well, I just don't want to deal with that now. Emails do get lost and they get hacked. That's kind of a growing concern in the space right now, is just having those emails be vulnerable to, basically being hacked. 90% of all attacks do happen through a compromised inbox. Files are often incorrect. Maybe you ask Bob to send you a driver's license and he sends you Betty's driver's license. That's not uncommon in the space. Something I think we can all identify with here is that your inbox is generally a mess, and so sorting through them is also problematic, right? So then this is you. If you're out there trying to service your clients and collect documents, you end up becoming a panic monster, right? And then the one down there that's your client there. They're also starting to get into a panic because maybe your due dates are approaching and you need to get the deal done, but you're struggling with the docs. So enter a modern deal flow. What you typically want to do as an organization is you want to create a playbook around your workflows. You want to productize essentially your loan types, whether it's mortgages. If they have further differentiations from there, you can essentially productize them so that they're easily referenced. And then you go into some of the other categories of automation, which is where I think most people get the most value. That's where what sort of drives efficiency. And then if you have other softwares, you want to make sure that all of your softwares play well together and are integrated. And then finally, you just want one big, nice dashboard that kind of tells you what's going on. So this is typically what we're seeing leading lenders do in their workspace is they follow these sort of steps. These have been extracted from a lot of companies that we've benchmarked against. So again, origination playbook, you want a consistent process. What are these top producers in these companies doing? And then you want to ultimately map that workflow, right? Essentially write it down, make sure you understand what it is that these top producers are doing. Two areas like I said, that really drive efficiency for you is going to be creating the templates and email workflows so that all of that stuff is essentially automated, consistent. Everything is mapped. It's very clear what the next steps are. And then, of course, where file invite comes in is automating the diligence collections process. So that's essentially a digital checklist as opposed to a manual checklist or a laundry list of items in an email body. Even if you have a repository site, like a OneDrive, SharePoint, you name it, a lot of times that is ultimately just a repository or a dump site where people just dump files, whether or not it's formatted correctly, whether or not it's labeled correctly. And then it's on you and the administrative burden to go through, make sure it is the right document, relabel it, and reformat it. You also want to have automated follow-up. You're in the business of closing deals. So if you're having to constantly dive into a client's deal for the sake of chasing them down for documents they have yet to upload, you're also kind of, turning your wheels. You're not spending time closing, you're spending time on the admin side. So you want to automate that. You want, approval for workflows. So as a loan reaches different phases, whether it goes from origination to underwriting on into closing, you want to make sure that there are approvals all throughout so that, you're, again, everything's geared towards streamlining. And then we'll kind of just look briefly at integration. I've already mentioned it. We're in an age where there are lots of softwares that do lots of different things. Oftentimes it's impossible to find a single solution that handles all of your problems. But what you can do is have 1, 2, at most maybe 3 softwares that handle different kind of disparate aspects that tie it all together as a whole ecosystem. So integration is super important. And then again, we'll just touch briefly on the dashboard and analytics. What that essentially does for you is it drives that real-time visibility. You can know exactly where a loan is in its process or in its life cycle. You can start to get analytics to understand where you need to put more of your efforts. And then you also have a team performance metrics built into something like a dashboard or analytics, in terms of understanding, hey, these are the people who are producing and here's what they're doing well, and then, vice versa. So just a quick summary here. Get a playbook, make sure that your process is consistent, learn from the top producers, productize essentially everything to drive efficiency. And then you can automate a lot of the administrative burden, which, believe it or not, actually does improve customer experience. That's been something that we've just really pulled out of our benchmarking. And then finally, again, integrations. You want to make sure that your compliance is automated by syncing with some of your legacy systems that have already been shown to be compliant with your loan process. And then finally, again, dashboard, which helps drive visibility. I've got a few minutes here. I'll just go through some of the results that we're seeing in the space. We've actually seen, and this is Tony Brevard from 7A Funding. They're actually seeing an 83% decrease in time spent collecting files. So if you can take a step back and extrapolate that for a minute into your own world and understand that, depending on the complexity of the loan, if you're talking 2 hours time spent just collecting docs and doing the admin work, that's a significant reduction. And obviously the higher the number that goes, the more impressive. So in his case, their staff is now just spending 20 minutes per application, which is incredible. Fundera is another company that we work with. We got their turnaround times for loan documentation down from 42 days to 15 days. And they did this by rolling out the system to their entire team in virtually no time. One of our favorites, or at least one of my personal favorites, is the First Home Bank case study that we have. They actually process as many loans in a 2-month period as that they would have otherwise done an entire year using manual methods. So I want to let that sink in for a second. One of the things that drove this volume up for them was during the, this is a commercial lender. And so they were processing a lot of the PPP loans. And so they got a massive influx. And instead of having to hire other individuals to deal with that influx, they implemented our software and were able to handle the volume with grace and, no additional headcount. So just a reminder, you guys always be closing. I think I have just a few more minutes. How many, Andrew, do I have?
Yeah. So we got a few minutes. Yeah, of course. I mean, listen, anyone who actually uses the sales conference scene from Glenn Ross gets a few extra minutes, man.
Perfect. So,
It's
I would have liked to have, had more time to dive into this, but I'll just give you a quick overview. What you're looking at right now is essentially the customer facing portal side. So if you have a borrower that is looking to buy and close a loan, this is a template we've created based on a standard sort of mortgage application. And what you see is essentially the list of items you would otherwise send them in an email, but instead of it just being a list that they have to then constantly refer to and make sure that they kind of check off manually, it's all here for them, right? And so as you can see, the menu itself is very straightforward. It's just the list of items they need, a place where they can communicate with whoever is essentially requesting the items, and then a navigation menu here. When a client actually gets an invite, they'll either get it through email and or text message. This is kind of what it looks like. You would put your company's branding here along with your color scheme, and they'd get a customized message that says, hey, we're requesting this for your mortgage application. Click to get started. And when you click it, they're immediately brought into here. So there's no need for a login. We all have more than enough logins to remember and to save and create. So we wanted to do away with that. Because we are a SOC 2 Type 2 compliant engine, it's essentially a bank level encryption. So the data is extremely safe, and we build in features to prevent others from accessing the data. Even if they get a hold of the link, there are protections in place to keep clients' data safe. So as you go through, you can there are three main components to the platform. You can fill forms and sign them. So anytime there are standard forms that need to be filled out and signed, those can be added in here. The second function is the uploading of data. So again, driver's license, expense reports, whatever you have to upload, that's a function that you have access to here in the portal. And then there's a read-only or statement of acknowledgement. So if you just need them to say, hey, I just need you to acknowledge this, that's the third and final feature here when it comes to communicating information. Real quick, I'll just switch over to the company view. So if you are the kind of business that is sending out the request for the documentation, this is what your sort of dashboard looks like of this particular invite. You can click on request and see that exactly what the client is seeing, which is the list of items, as well as a status, that they're active. Nothing has been submitted yet. Nothing has been uploaded. So you can keep track of that. And then as things go through and get filled out, so for instance, we'll just do a quick upload here. So let's say I go through and I upload this. When I go to the company's page and I refresh, it's going to let me know that that one document has been returned. It's very simple. I just click on it. You see here it was uploaded as driver's license JPEG. A lot of times when people upload these pictures of driver's license, it'll say image 895321 JPEG. It'll automatically convert it to the naming convention ID driver's license and convert it to a PDF. I can do a quick view here to see what I'm looking at to make sure, is this it? Oh, yep, it sure is. And I can either approve or reject each document. So lots of functionality here. Obviously, I don't have enough time to go into the details, but the kind of key takeaway here is that any of the process that you're involved in terms of collecting documents you're going to reduce by, generally speaking, 80% time on collecting docs, because the portal is so user-friendly. Yeah. What we're finding is that clients are actually returning documents 2 to 3 times faster, and also referring more business because of how easy the process was to work with them, especially if you're in a race against competing interests where it's whoever can get to the decision faster. This is a great way to achieve that.
Wow. So just a couple of quick questions.
Yeah.
So can can this be private labeled? So I see actually file invite logo, and I don't know if actually that's part of just kind of the demo, because you rather than put up, some other company's name, like, and how much private labeling can we do?
Yeah, so that's absolutely the case. I've brought up the branding settings here within your own account. You can upload your logo and select your color scheme, so that not only does it'll show it basically anywhere you're communicating with the client. You can also opt in for a custom URL, so it'll actually, the email will come from your domain essentially, so that at every level, you can white label it essentially at every level.
Fantastic. And, talk about the integration with some of the partners that you work with, like the LOSs out there.
Yeah, so we integrate with virtually any sort of, whether it's LOS or CRM or just storage. We work with Encompass. We've integrated with them. We're currently working on an integration with Vision. Which is more, I think, geared towards commercial lending. But basically, if you have an LOS, any sort of legacy system, we have a very robust API, which essentially allows us to connect and communicate with virtually any software.
Wow, that's fantastic. That's great. And how does this thing work on mobile?
Oh, it's incredible. So it is optimized for mobile. So again, most clients receive messages both through email and through mobile. You could actually complete an entire application and all your documents through your phone simply by taking pictures, or if you have them saved there, you could theoretically do it on your phone. And the view is going to be much like what you saw here. So it's going to pop up, you'll get started, you'll immediately be brought into the portal here, and it's all going to look essentially the same.
That's great, man. Beautiful, wonderful. So listen, I appreciate you taking the time to connect with us, sharing a little bit that is the magic of file invite. And without further ado, we're going to wrap it up with our friends over at Sales Boomerang. So give me a minute while I bring Mike up onto the stage here. Mike, you should be getting an invitation to join us as a panelist. All right. Gerald, thank you so much. I'm going to be kicking you out right now.
All right. Thank you.
All right. And hold on for a second while I make Mike a co-host so he can share his camera, share his screen, and we wrap it up with,
hey,
fantastic, with business intelligence, thanks to our friends over at Sales Boomerang, making sure we leave no borrower left behind. So, Mike, take it away.
Hey, thanks for having me. Let me share my screen here. Make sure it jumps up. Here we go. All right, can you see that all right?
Yeah, fantastic.
Hey, awesome. Again, thanks for having me. Really excited to be here today and talk to you about Sales Boomerang. For those of you that don't know, we are a borrower retention platform. We allow you to bring in your database and make sure that no borrower is left behind. Anybody that you've talked to from a prospect perspective or a funded deal, we monitor them and then let you know when they're ready for their next loan. And so far for us, that's created over $150 billion in new volume for our clients and over 4 million notifications. So what I'm going to show you today is our next evolution of where we're going. So we do all of this. I'm going to show you the watch types, but I'm going to show you something that has not yet been seen by anybody else. This is the first time we're revealing it on this webinar today. So let me jump in. All right, so this is our platform. This is Sales Boomerang platform. These are the watch settings. And so you can see here, we're covering your borrower by monitoring all pieces of their activity. And what does that mean? So if we look at credit improvement, if you have a borrower that doesn't have quite the right amount of credit to be able, or the right credit score to be able to get that next loan or to get in their dream home, you can put them into this program and we'll let you know when they've improved their credit. And we'll trigger an alert off to you. Where does that alert go? It either comes into our system or it goes right directly to your CRM. We're integrated with 17 different CRMs right now, all of the leading ones in the industry. And so the alerts go directly to your CRM. So there's nothing new for you to learn by using Sales Boomerang. Some of our other ones, the rate alert lets you know when when somebody can improve their rate, so you can put them into a new refinance. Our listing alerts, when somebody has listed their home. You know, one of our favorites, the EPO prevention, making sure that you are not being hit with those EPOs, so that you can protect that business that you have just done over the past 6 to 7 months. And then, of course, we have mortgage inquiries as well. So what I was going to show off today are prescriptive scenarios. We've talked about them in the industry. If you know Sales Boomerang, you've probably heard the term. But the rate and term, the cash out, and the FHA MI removal are our prescriptive scenarios. What they are, they're credit qualified versions of some of our other alerts. So for rate and term, if I click into the settings here, you can see that you can set what type of loan you want to watch. In this case, it's conventional. The origination, you want to make sure that it's been originated for at least 6 months in this case. And then when you want to be alerted, when that borrower can save $200 a month on their payment, or we also alert when the borrower can save over the course of their loan. So you can set this or the previous at either a percentage based or a dollar based, and then that allows us to alert you when those things are possible. This is something that we're really excited about. Then we also track the credit score. What credit score do you need the borrower to have to make sure that you can trigger this loan or to fund this deal for them? And then also bankruptcies, foreclosures, and late payments. They also allow you to set minimum home value. One of the things that you can do here, set minimum home value, and you can actually create multiple of these. In this example, the other version is an FHA. So we're looking at an FHA, and you can set all of the criteria differently or the same, but just making sure that it's separated by loan type. So this is what you do. Come into our system. You can set your criteria. We can work with you to make sure that it's set for what you need. But then where do those alerts go? What do they look like? We're gonna jump back and jump to the dashboard to be able to see that. So here is a breakdown of some alerts that have hit our system. So we have an equity alert at the top. There's 26% equity in that home. You can call up me, or you can call it Justin Fields. I'm the loan officer on that. You can call it Justin Fields and talk to him. What we're going to look at today is this cash out opportunity. It is the credit version, just like I talked to about rate and term, of that equity alert. So here you can see this is what we're delivering today when we're talking about a cash out. We're letting you know how much tappable equity is in that home, 42,000. We're letting you know how much revolving debt, so 20,000. So you can do a debt consolidation loan on this. It's an easy call to the customer, the borrower, to be like, hey, I have your best interest at heart. Here, let me tell you what we can do. We can take that revolving debt, we can eliminate it and combine it into the equity of your home for a much lower interest rate. And so we let you see all of this, the current home value, the current loan amount, the current LTV, and then the debt. So that's how we're delivering the credit improvement alerts today. Where we're going with them, the big reveal of what we're doing with our prescriptive scenarios is we're updating them to make sure that you have all of the information you need. So the estimated current monthly payment that we are anticipating based on all of the information that we're pulling in for this borrower. So they're paying around $1,182 right now. But we're also telling you with a rate and term refinance, they could be paying $30 less. Or with a debt consolidation loan, it's only $76 more a month, but they're getting rid of that debt. We're combining all of the information that you need. So the current mortgage, the type, the funding date, the term, with the rate information. So now you can see that their current interest rate, they're at 4.1, and they can actually go down to 3.9, but that they can also get rid of the revolving debt with the tappable equity that they have. In this case, this person does not have mortgage insurance, so there is no removing that, but we will tell you that too, and we'll tell you about how much they're going to save from that mortgage insurance with either our FHA MI removal, but also we're going to be offering that in our cash out and our rate and term alerts moving forward as well. So it's really exciting to us. So let's just look at it side by side. What we're giving today and what we're launching in February to be able to show all of those additional details. So from what we give you today, which have been really impactful, some of our clients have taken on these prescriptive scenarios, started because we allow you to cap to make sure that you're getting what you can support within your system, what you can support within your team. So you could say one of our clients scheduled each of their different scenarios at 10 alerts per day. They were running 7 different scenarios, one for conventional, FHA and VA on cash out and rate and term. And they were also running FHA and MI removal, 70 alerts a day. That's what they started with. Then after the first couple months, they upped it to 100 a day for those. And now they're up to 200. So they're getting 1,200 alerts per day. Now your team may be different size. Maybe you don't need that many, but that is what our users are doing. They're upping the total alerts because they see the immense value that we're giving you by having these credit qualified alerts here. And so you can kind of see where we're going. I'm going to pull up the rate and term for you to kind of show you what is being highlighted there. It's the same thing. So your loan officers don't need to think about, what type of alert am I getting and how am I going to react to it. We're consolidating it and making it an overview so you see the options that your borrowers can have. And we're letting you know what triggered it. In this case, it was because we knew that they could save money, not because they had a certain amount of tappable equity. But we also look down here, they actually do have some revolving debt. And they have tappable equity of $24,000, which can't cover the revolving debt. But maybe you want to pull some of that revolving debt in with the equity at this much lower rate of 3% instead of the 4.5%. So it's really about making sure that the data is available and you can make the smart decisions for your clients. But more than that, we're evolving this too over the course of the next year to make sure that we're tying this all into your journeys. And so with the outreach to your clients, that we want to make sure that they're getting the information and you can have as many inbound calls as you do outbound. So it all ties into the overall strategy. So that was the big reveal, Prescriptive Scenarios version 2. But I actually have one more thing to show you as well. So if I reveal that we're also releasing in February a reverse mortgage alert. I know this is becoming big in the industry because there's a huge amount of equity and because as people are retiring, they may need a reverse mortgage. We also understand that these are very profitable for companies. So we listen to our customers. We talked to a couple different customers, BRMG and Finance of America, and they were like, hey, do you have anything for reverse mortgages? It's really important to us right now. We have some teams working on it. We talked to them and we fast tracked this alert type. So if we look at the reverse mortgage, it is laying out that the borrower is eligible for a reverse mortgage. They have a certain amount of equity in right now, their age, and then the overall value of the home. So we're showing this to you so that you can reach out, start to have a conversation about whether a reverse mortgage is right for this borrower. Like I said, these will be available in February as well. We're just starting to launch them now with some alpha partners, but we're really excited about these reverse mortgages in addition to that version 2 of Prescriptive Scenarios. We have a lot going on right now, a lot of really, really exciting invite additions that tie back into our overall mission of ensuring that your borrowers are in the right loan right now. And that's really what drives us forward. All right, so to tie it all up with what Sales Boomerang is and what we do, we are delivering on average about 24x ROI for those clients that are coming on board. We're alerting, at these rates in Q3 on average for these different products. So with cash out, it was 1.44%, rate and term is 1.29%, and for FHA and MI removal is 2.42%. So based on the number of records in your database, that gives you a rough idea about how many of these alerts you could be getting if you signed up with us today. And then the next thing, which is really cool, we did a month in the life of a new client that came on board. They had 37,000 records. We looked at them at day 1, at week 1, and at month 1. The average loan funded deal that was going through was 246,000. But on day 1, they received 79 alerts, which converted into $19 million in volume. On week 1, 621 alerts. And then at month 1, we delivered 1981 alerts. And you can see those prescriptive scenarios that I just talked about were listed in here. You can see that they were capped for this borrower to start at 5 for cash out and 5 for rate and term across those different ones. So really, it escalated over the course of the month and gave them some real opportunities that they were able to work on. So that's it. That's what I have to show today, and happy to open the floor for any questions.
Fantastic. So everyone, feel free to use the question box. So one of the things, and we just kind of covered this with some of our other presenters, to get up and running from the time actually that someone says, "Hey, let's do it," to be stand up and ready to start receiving alerts. How long does that typically take?
Yeah, it's a good question. So it depends. There's two factors that affect our overall onboarding. For if they signed up, we like to get people up and running within 30 days so that they start receiving alerts. But there's a couple things. Integration with your CRM. So some CRMs, turnkey, really easy, and some CRMs, especially if it's a new one that we don't have in our system yet, might take a little bit longer. And then also the bureau onboarding. So for credit type alerts, we need to make sure that we're getting all of the checks with the bureau, and that usually takes about 2 weeks.
No. And so when it turns on, I mean, I'm going to assume that there's like all of a sudden a deluge of alerts that all of a sudden happens. I mean, because these are uncovered opportunities that all of a sudden, like a big flashlight's being pointed at these opportunities. So how do you handle as a mortgage bank? How do they handle that flood of activity?
Yeah, so we actually help manage that flood of activity, and so one of the things that we like to talk about are the difference between offensive and defensive alerts. And so defensive alerts are those alerts where your borrower is out there actively doing something. They could either be listing their home or applying for a mortgage. And in those two cases, you want to act right away to make sure that you have the opportunity to service that borrower again. So for those, we can't really do anything about it. For the other ones, because if they're out there acting, we want to let you know about everybody that is. And so we're triggering those for you as long as they meet your criteria. So we make sure that they have the right credit score and everything else that you see fit from bankruptcies, foreclosures, and lates for those applications. Then for listing, all of those listings just come directly to you. For our other alerts, the offensive alerts, these are the ones where you're getting in front of the borrower before they're taking action. And so for those, we have queues set up so we can allow that they get cycled out to you on a daily basis. Like I said, here we can see that this cash out starts with 5 a day. And then over the course of the first week, they ended up hitting 30. And over the course of the first month, they hit 100. Because these are such round numbers, we know that they're using their daily caps in a way to make sure that they're not overtaxing. And so when they first come into the system, they can get used to the alerts, and we can increase them over time, just like our other clients have done.
If I'm not mistaken, I think actually a presentation that we did with you guys a few years back, we talked about actually about 12 loans, I think 12 or 13 loans opportunities throughout the course of a borrower. It's I hate to say it, but the defensive tool is like the lazy loan officer's best friend.
Yeah.
Obviously they should be doing all the things to proactively get that business before it winds up actually in someone else's pipeline. But just in case, this is a good little insurance policy, to kind of to hedge against that.
Yeah, I like that you call it an insurance policy. I'm actually going to steal that. That's a good one. I think that the average number of loans for a borrower of their life is 11. And I believe, our company believes, that you can actually increase that, because with our mission of ensuring that a borrower is in the right loan right now, a lot of borrowers don't understand the equity in their home. They don't understand that they could be saving money when interest rates are lowered. They don't understand the value that they have in their home. And so by us alerting you and allowing you to have that conversation with the borrower, you are no longer reaching out blank. You're reaching out with real information that they can improve their loan. And I like to use myself as an example here. If somebody reached out to me and said, "Hey, Mike, I know you're paying $1,500 a month on mortgage. You could be paying $1,200 a month if you refinance, or if you went down to a 15-year loan, you could be saving this over the course of your loan." I'm going to be like, wow, this guy really has my best interest at heart, versus hey, rates are lower. Do you want a lower rate? That doesn't speak to me. That's not what's going to drive me. But knowing that over the course of my loan, I could be saving hundreds of thousands of dollars that I can then spend on my kids' college, or I could spend on an even better home over time. Those things are impactful to me.
That's fantastic. So, and the alerts I'm assuming most of your clients, they're coming in through the CRM. So other than just playing with the settings and triggers, most interactions are happening within whatever the client's CRM that they're using, right?
That's right. Yeah. So the alerts go directly into the CRM. They're triggered, and for a lot of our CRM partners, they're actually triggering real journeys. That they then start sending emails on a regular basis, where they go into a call situation where they just have the list of calls and they can call the borrowers one after the other. And for our CRM partners, they are highlighting Sales Boomerang alerts because they convert so well. And so we have a couple of different examples of that from our CRM partners. So if you're interested in learning more about that, reach out.
Yeah, I mean, Mike, I kind of look at it this way. Unfortunately, there's so many great pieces of technology that basically require users to learn other systems. Requires actually originators to take them out of their comfort zone and actually have to learn another system, which it's difficult to get the adoption. But when you have a system like this, that's speaking right to the CRM, it's setting the alerts over there, and it's just kind of set it and forget it kind of thing. It makes it a no-brainer for lenders to implement this. This is fantastic. So
thank you.
Very cool. Listen, always great to connect with you guys. Really amazing things that you guys do, and I think we're gonna wrap this up. So
great.
Mike, you want to say anything in closing?
No, just again, thank you for having us. We're really excited about both the evolution of our prescriptive scenarios, being able to provide that value, as well as the reverse mortgage alerts that are both coming in February.
Fantastic. Mike, thank you so much. And
Thank
again,
you.
Thank you for joining us for another Originator Tech. We're going to be doing more of these next year. I'd love to get actually your feedback. Actually, if there's anything you think we can do to make this better, if there are any type of companies that you'd like to see, love to hear your feedback. And everyone, enjoy the last month of the year, and we will